My name's Scott Yoshida. I think I know most people. And I'll have the five of us all worked on this together, and it's part of the connected thing around this idea of the first year experience. And I'm just going to get into it so we can move pretty quickly. There's a big kind of question that is at the center of the work. And it's like, what does it take to improve the success, retention, and improvement of our incoming students? And the idea is that, you know, there's all these people coming in, and we're wondering, what is it like when you walk into school for students, right? Is it that bad? Like, what's really going on for them? And what are we doing to help them out? So we kind of want to know, like, what's going on? What's in their head? And one of the solutions that we're going to look at now is developing a first year experience. So something that actually helps students, like where there's a plan for them walking into the school, that they are given some sort of support along the way, so that their first semester, their first year of contact with us is different than just kind of wandering into school, you know, getting assessed and kind of bouncing around to the counseling office and all that kind of stuff. And so for part of it is to create a 1 unit, and this is what we worked on, making a 1 unit mini foundations course or college success course to basic skills English classes that borrows from the Academy of College Excellence curriculum. And that's what the focus of this inquiry is about. So that's really it, I think. And the next step, there's some other steps, but we're not gonna talk about that. So it's really, in that first semester, they don't just take any class, but they're taking basic skills and a 1 unit college success class. And we're studying that 1 unit college success class to see what happened. And we taught some pilot ones this semester.
Okay, so the Academy for College Excellence, or the ACE Connection. The connection is, they have a 2-week foundation course model that we use in Persist. It'll help students it's a strength-based model. So it helps students identify their own strengths and identify strengths in others, and it's around team building and teamwork. It's also around communicating, and that graphic is one of the things that it is. First year experience, mini foundations course is a distillation of that 2-week course. The idea was to take the strongest components of the 2-week course and see if we can actually put it into a 1 unit 17-hour course. And try to offer it to as many students as possible. In the 1 unit course, we are expecting a bunch of things. We're trying to expect a lot. So we're trying to get students to identify their own working style and working styles of others. We're using this this model called the Success Satisfaction Cycle that walks you through a process of, not just a process of work, but also gives you a tool to assess that. That should be a bullet point there. But the third thing we do is we ask them to try to understand, identify, and manage stress. In the ACE model, they call it bioreaction, and it's not like when people first hear it, it's, oh, I guess you want to avoid that. Well, it's not that you can avoid it. It's inevitable. It's about managing it. And the last thing is to communicate effectively by using the conversation meter. There's a tool that we have in terms of authentic communication. So it's about making observations versus snap judgments. So a lot of it is contextualized in terms of, it's evidence-based academic culture. The difference between making an observation versus actually making a judgment before you fully observe.
So we know that miracles don't come easy. So after the mini foundations course, we had students take a survey. 3 simple questions. All right. So one is, please rate the usefulness of the different sections of the 1 unit mini college success course you took earlier this semester. Second question, how well do you remember each of the elements of the course? And then, would you recommend a friend take this course? All right. And out of 100 participants, we had half the students respond. And we'll use this graphic to show responses to the first question. It's kind of covered up there, but explain the usefulness of the different elements. So let me just give you a quick overview of the graphic here. Right over here along the vertical axis are the different elements of the mini foundations course. There's a success satisfaction cycle. There's accessing the working styles of others, learning about your working style. All right, and then right here on the horizontal axis are the number of responses. All right? And right here in orange, yellow, whatever you want to call it, is students found it useful. Blue is students found it somewhat useful, and purple is not useful at all. And at least from this question, we found out that students found that working with the working styles was the most useful to them. All right. Chris mentioned earlier how they do a lot of work when it comes to figuring out their working styles. They work in team groups. They do a spider diagram. There's a lot of work that's involved with the working styles. I also think it's, and you guys might want to chime in here, I think it's also because students have a chance to become more aware about their own working style and that it acknowledges difference. And they like to hear that from us as instructors. Second question is how well do you remember each of the elements from the course? Okay, same kind of pattern. Yet what we see from this graphic is that the success satisfaction cycle is not remembered as much, all right?
Could I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you think some of that might be the terminology, that they might remember the concept of, because we were talking about terms earlier today, is that a possibility?
I think, I mean, you guys can help me out here. It's a combination of things. Number one, they engage with the learning style element, and they work with that so much, okay, doing a lot of activities. And then with the success satisfaction cycle, it comes like second day,
Yeah,
and it's not as much time.
It's sort of it was a little bit abstract, the concept, because there was so many different components that were essential to put into the course. It was kind of like the one, you know, lecture piece that we had. But additionally, the survey was taken about 7 weeks or so after the foundations class was completed, and not every one of the classes, because not all of the instructors teaching the English classes were able to, you know, use aspects of the curriculum in their class. So it wasn't, you know, doing the repeating itself so that it was a readily accessible thing all the time. During the course, I will say, at least the one that I taught, they understood like every component of it. I think it was just, there's kind of like a drop-off point afterwards, so, you know.
And you know, like I said, same pattern is happening here. Learning styles, most useful or most remembered, and then same thing with bioreaction. But
Oh, okay. I need to stand this way because I can't read with my head the other way. Okay, so for some of the best students, we also asked kind of a, you know, open-ended questions at the end, and these were some of the positive comments that we got. You know, this class is definitely helpful. You will definitely learn things that you didn't know about yourself and others. You learn how to adjust and adapt to the working/learning styles of others. I totally recommend this course because it helps your personal development. As future professionals, we need to enforce our strengths and check our weaknesses. So one of the things that I thought was really positive about this class with these kinds of responses that we got, I think a lot of the students were kind of looking at this foundations course as an opportunity to actually assess themselves and like think about the way they think and think about the way they communicate. Because when they go into the content classes, it's just like information, 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 information. Now do something, do something, do something. And it doesn't, you know, it doesn't really give them a lot of time. I mean, that's what it's like. That's what it's like. And so this is kind of an opportunity for them to actually sit there and like get to know the people that are going to be in their class, and, you know, get to think about how they talk with other people and think about like what they're comfortable doing, what takes a lot of energy for them to do. There's not many opportunities for them to do that. So I think that was with some of these responses, some of the things that were really valuable. Also with the we had them do a reflection assignment at the end. And that was one of the primary things that they were really talking about, like, oh, well, now that I have, it's kind of interesting, it's sort of the reverse. Now that I have a term for that thing that happens to me when I get stressed, oh, now I can actually do something about it. So as having taught it, I taught it for 1A students. I didn't teach it for the basic skills students this semester. So the 1A students, this is, I thought was kind of interesting. They were really, really into the intellectual aspect of it. Like they wanted to know all of the, oh, well, bioreaction, it's this cognitive thing, and this happens in your brain, and, you know, all of those sort of like more technical components to it. They really sort of took a fancy to those things. But it's all based on experiential learning. Like you actually have to go through it and then identify it. For a lot of them, like allowing themselves to sort of let go and experience something, it was a little bit tougher. So I got to spend less time on the concepts and more on like, no, just like do it. Seriously, like now, you know, that kind of thing. It was a push. The rationale for the course also needs emphasis. This is such an incredibly unique experience for a lot of them. Like this, I don't think is being offered to many students coming in to take classes in many college campuses. I mean, there's some that are doing it, but it's such a unique experience being able, as the course goes along, to explain like why they're doing it is really important. The first day, 'cause it was my first time teaching it, I didn't really do that very much at the beginning, and as soon as we had our first break, it was like all the, so wait, what is it? Wait, what's going on here? Wait, why are we, what? You know, but once they understood it, they really liked it. This was something I was hitting on a little bit earlier. The course needs like some post-reinforcement in the classes. We're hoping at some point to try to come up with a way to have some of the mechanisms that we use to teach things actually work their way into the classes that they're linked to. I think Scott did some experimentation with that this semester.
I kind of mapped some of the stuff, some of the cycles around project to the writing process, and used some of the group stuff in creating peer review groups and other group projects.
Yeah.
I think if you've gone through like a Felly and that you at least have that, it'd be probably easier for you to do.
Yeah.
You'd have a game. You could see it happening.
Yeah. Well, it's also for anybody who is interested in doing that and maybe doing I don't know, practicum or something in the fall. Let us know. But yeah, definitely having more components of it in the course. I think that they definitely bear repeating. And the one thing that I will say, I read through all of my I had about 70 or so in my two sections. Out of the people that completed the final reflection, the one thing that I noticed, for the most part, like the comments were very positive, like especially with the working styles, with the bioreaction, they valued that a lot. But there were a couple, like maybe 3 students that were just kind of like, nah, you know, because there always has to be somebody, which is I don't want to, you know. But the one thing that all of those students did say that was that they really did like about the course, that it was great to actually get to know the other people in the class in an academic environment, but that isn't the class. Like that they found that extremely valuable. So yeah.
So I just wanted to add that I've taught this, what Chris was describing, the full foundations course. So for me, reflecting on going from full to mini, there's like 2 main things that comes out of what I think we're missing in the mini. So one thing that Laura said kind of triggered that for me just now around how the 1A students, perhaps this issue of letting go. The 269 students and 201 students that I worked with, to me, my experience is that they've already let go and coming in, and it's like, then the challenge is, can you as a teacher let go? And so one thing that we do in the full foundations course is intentional self-disclosure, and not self-descriptors in the sense that, hey, I'm from Harlem, I grew up in the ghetto experience too, but you know, more self-disclosure in that I actually survived some trauma, and you seeing that I'm relatively healed from it now, I faced my fear around it, and that I can survive this. It just really helps to interrupt that experience that most of our students are feeling around being alone, feeling alone in their learning process, and that they don't feel that they're good enough to understand, you know, to get this academic experience down for themselves. And I've heard that a lot in the earlier presentations about what you guys were saying around students, you know, not being able to absorb the language. And a lot of this is just, you know, it's rooted in fear. And so self-disclosing, intentional self-disclosure really helps to address that quickly, and it gets that learning community bonded early. And so the mini foundation class, I feel like, because I know it's missing, I intentionally do a lot of self-disclosure in different parts of it, just so they keep seeing that, oh, okay, you know, the power, you know, she's really trying to equalize the power here. And the other main thing that I feel like it's missing is that, you know, this is all under the umbrella of transformative learning. And one of the main prerequisites with transformative learning is that we give ourselves an opportunity to do deep reflection. And you can only do deep reflection when you're fully immersed in it and you spend time away from it. And then you keep coming back to it. And so like for our students, the biggest challenge is, you know, they have to take this class for 2 weeks, you know, 9 to 5, and that's already a huge challenge for them. But it's amazing the transformation that comes out of that because of that constant, like, okay, I fully immersed myself, it was experiential, and now I reflected and I keep coming back. You know, that repetition really just helps that transformation to lock in for them. So that's my 2 cents about it.
And I want to respect our super busy counselors who have come over to present their things. So,
Hey,
are you guys?
Can I just
yeah,
read through this and be done?
Perfect.
30 seconds.
I'm sorry, everyone.
What's next? We're actually rolling this out as a beta in the fall. All basic skills English classes will be part of this 1 unit mini foundations class. We're going to change the curriculum to really focus on working styles and probably bioreaction. We're going to work with basic skills English instructors and integrate other parts of the curriculum into their classes, and work with ACE to assess the model for effectiveness.
All right.